In June 2019, a bushfire in Australia happened and would last for almost a whole year, burning down 3,641 homes, 478 facilities, 7,511 outbuildings, and taking more than 34 lives. This is now known as the Black Summer bushfires. In July 1913, the hottest heat wave ever, recorded having a high temperature of 57 degrees Celsius, struck California. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, an economic recession happened across the world, causing global stock markets to experience their worst crash since 1987 and affecting 400 million full-time jobs. Throughout history, we needed someone, not just someone, a group of people actually, to help the world overcome the problems that keep coming every now and then. That's why we need the G20. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the panel of judges. My name is Keisha Halim from Sinchong School, Surabaya, and the topic I would like to speak about today is why G20 matters. G20 is the group of 20, a collection of 20 of the world's largest economies formed in 1999, whose countries are responsible for around 80% of global greenhouse gas emissions and 85% of global gross domestic product. Its role is to bring together the most important industrialized and developing economies to discuss international economic and financial stability. One of the group's most impressive achievements was its robust response to the 2008 financial crisis that was discussed during the 2008 G20 Washington Summit on financial markets and the world economy. You might be thinking, why do they even matter if they're the ones who are contributing to the emissions? Shouldn't we put the blame on them? Well, I beg to differ. Even when they are responsible for a lot of the greenhouse gas emissions, they are also the ones who are contributing to the plan to reduce the global temperature. For instance, last year, the G20 leaders met up in Glasgow for the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference and reached an agreement called the Glasgow Climate Pact. The main result was a more robust 2030 emission reduction target to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius by several methods: restraining methane emissions, stopping and reversing deforestation, aligning the finance sector with a net zero by 2050, and speeding up the coal phase-out, to name a few. As co-chair of the G20 Environment Deputies Meeting and Climate Sustainability Working Group, Lakshmi Duanti said, the G20 countries also suggest and hope that the communiqué will be able to send a strong message not only to the G20, but also to the rest of the world that the G20 Forum is serious about environmental and climate change issues, is committed to working together, and leads the implementation of existing environmental and climate change agendas. Aside from climate problems, G20 also discussed their strategies for mitigating the COVID-19 pandemic, improving the welfare of small to medium-scale businesses, fulfilling the SDGs, improving global health infrastructure, accelerating digital transformation, and helping transition towards sustainable energy in developing countries. For further explanation, the Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint for achieving a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. Furthermore, not only is the G20 important because it helps solve sustainable development goals, but the G20 itself is also essential because it brings countries together. As I mentioned before, G20 is a group of 20 countries. Therefore, the 20 countries in the G20 are working together. This is a good thing because if they don't and just work individually per country, they might not be able to be where they are today. Take this scenario, for example. Country A wants to reduce the effects of climate change all by itself. They have the financial stability to do so, but they don't know how exactly to use that money. Country B also wants to do the same thing, but they're in an economic crisis for the time being. Fortunately, unlike Country A, Country B actually knows what to do to reduce the effects of climate change. So, seeing this situation, what must be done? Both countries must work together and combine the things they have. That's precisely how G20 works, except it's on a bigger scale. Joko Widodo, the president of Indonesia, stated in his G20 speech, and I quote, "Pandemic is far from over, and the global economy is struggling. During this situation, no single country could recover alone. All countries are interconnected. No one is isolated. All in all, I believe the G20 is an important organization because it has a big role globally and a responsibility to fulfill sustainable development goals. It is also important because it brings countries together to work together to achieve those goals. I believe that G20 truly matters, and in G20, we believe that if we can recover together, we can recover stronger. Thank you.